I am going to play a video about the passport bros. So for those that don't know, there's a movement in America called the Passport Bros. One of the leaders, called Austin Holman, has been promoting this movement. Essentially, I think they're predominantly African American men. African American men are going to Brazil, going to Philippines, even Africa. They're going to third world countries, developing countries, to seek more submissive and subservient women. Because the women, really the black women in America, are masculine. So they're constantly comparing and contrasting the American, let's just call it what it is, the black woman, yeah, to the women in these developing countries, thinking that they're, subservient and submissive, and they want a wife that's more traditional. But actually, it's a little bit more sinister than we give it credit for. So he got run out. The guy, Austin Holman, got run out of Brazil. He got run out of Brazil. So I'm going to show you some videos.
Hi everyone. So I've been seeing these videos about passport bros. So basically, you just Google it to figure out what that is. And all of these men, they seem to think that they would leave America and go to third world countries like Africa, the Philippines, Brazil, to try and find a submissive wife because American women are masculine and they are not submissive. And the problem with this idea for me as an African woman, I'm from South Africa, is that they don't realize that this is not, they are the reason why African American women, or they are Western women, are the way that they are. They created this culture. You have to understand that the reason that African women or women from third world countries are the way that they are because of how their men treat them. Men in other countries are raised to be a provider. They are raised to be a protector. They are raised to be the head of the household. Most third world countries do not promote the 50-50 idea. A man is to take care of the house and the woman is to take care of the house. So, and yeah, African women work, they've got degrees, they can go to a job, but like when they grow up, even though having a degree and having all of these other things, they are still taught how to be a wife at home. And same as men, they are still taught like you need to be the head of the house. In America, you have a culture of men who want 50-50. They don't want to fully provide. They want to know what you bring on the table. And they say cooking and cleaning is not enough, but you still have to do it because you are a woman. What else are you bringing to the table? And secondly, the way that you guys have treated your women for generations and generations, it's what has created masculine women. It's what has created super independent women where they have to depend on themselves because you don't want to go to work, you cheat on them, you lie on them, and you don't take care of them. And if you Google the internet, search all of the internet and check and see if any of these countries, look at Brazil, look at South Africa, Nigeria, and find one podcast that is solely dedicated at destroying or talking badly and just like talking all of this nonsense about how black women are fat, masculine and ugly. There is not one podcast that you will find of an African community or Mexico or any third world countries where you go find wives where wives or women of that nation are being bashed the way that African men bash their women. So and then thirdly, African men treat their women like queens. They are not like perfect, but they treat them like queens. In order for you to fix what you
So that gives us a general sense. I'll play a few other videos. But she said some interesting things, right? Isn't it true? Like the last 3 weeks, I've watched so much. Should I say it? Should I say it? Should I say it? I watched so much red pill content in the manosphere, more the black red pill content, and oh my gosh, I really think I've got thick skin. I can take the bullets that come, and now from the way I've heard black women, well, the particularly African American women, I don't think I can even be offended anymore if someone said black women are this, you're ugly, you're this, or that. I don't think I'll be offended. Look, the reality is this woman from South Africa is basically saying that we've caught on to what you are doing, passport bros. Don't come to a third world country, thinking that you can compare and contrast, and we are stupid. We are mumu, like mumu stupid. Like we are not aware. We will also play you. She says it in another video. She actually says it in another video that we will play you too because you think that we're stupid. You think that you can just come and that we're stupid.
This is part 2. So if you go to any of these third world countries to try and find a wife and bring that wife to America, you are going to create the exact same woman that you created here if you don't know how to adopt the behavior of those men. There's a reason these women are the way that they are. You have to look at how their men treat them. There's a reason they are submissive. There's a reason they don't have a problem staying at home and raising kids. There's a reason why they are submissive to their husbands. But if you go to a third world country and bring this woman in your country and still continue the behavior and the attitude that you had towards your women to her, you are gonna run her out. Most likely, if you go to a country anyway, just looking for a wife because they are better than the wife in your country, you are the problem. You are toxic, and most likely you are a predator, because that means you are not a man enough to learn how to control your women. And when I say control your women, you don't know how to use non-manipulative tactics to get what you want from a woman. Probably can't have a conversation, probably don't want to hear that you have to reason with the person. I don't know, but all I'm saying is, if you go to a different country with the sole purpose of trying to find a husband, a wife, you are a red flag to me and to most African women. Look at African women, most likely they date African men. Why? Not because there isn't like a good American brothers, or there's a lot of great African American brothers, but I'm talking specifically with African like the passport bros. Most even African American women are now looking at dating African men. Why? Because they already understand the assignment. They don't need to make podcasts about, oh, we need a submissive wife, because they know what it takes to get and keep a woman submissive and good. And I'm not talking about control. I'm not talking about bashing, talking down. I'm not talking about any of that. So you need to change your attitude towards women. You need to change your attitude. You need to first learn, like these men that are passport bros, they need to sit down in their country and learn what it takes to be a husband, what it takes really to be a leader in the home, and then start treating their women in the most respectful way, like they are queens, like the way that African men treat their women. I have never seen a toxic culture like African American men. Again, not all of them. The way that they talk about their women, it shocks me. It traumatizes.
She got there in the end. So there's a lot of things she said, and some of the things she can say is a bit debatable, but we're getting the picture of what we're getting the picture. We are getting the picture of what she's saying, right? And I really think it's good that Africans and Brazilians are really speaking out about this, because social media has enabled everybody around the world that can have access to internet and has a phone or has a computer to listen to the podcast. So when African women are hearing you demean your own woman and say that the women over there are better, look, they're going to be African women that don't care, because reality is, what she isn't saying, because that's not the point, is the fact that the socioeconomic issues are such that many people, many women, many men would want to get out of the country. We know of many African men marrying for papers. So you think African women, Brazilian women ain't doing that too? Bruh, they're doing it too. So these men are gold mine. Basically, you're using me, or let's not say you're using. You're coming to me because you are not masculine enough. You're not man enough to take responsibility for your women in your country. You are projective. You're projecting your insecurities on the women that look like you, and looking for women who either look like you but of a different culture, or who are racially ambiguous, because that is your preference, because you believe that lighter is better. Anything close to white is better. And you think I'm going to love that. I'll play the game because I want to come out my country. I want a green card, baby. Give me a green card. Give me a British passport because I want to come out of my socioeconomic poverty. Hell yeah. So and the reality is, someone said it, $1,000 is 5,000, whatever the equivalent is in Brazil. So basically, you can be a 20,000 there and be throwing it large in Brazil, similar to Africa. The exchange rate is ridiculous. So I can go to Africa and be a baller. Do you know what I'm saying? That's just really the situation. The rate of living is low, even though it is still very high for a lot of people. Is low in contrast to being in the UK, being in Canada, being in Australia, being in New Zealand, etc., being in Western Europe. So it kind of like it shows you the level of delusionality that these men have, that they feel they can confidently promote their nonsense, and that the women in these developing countries are so backwards that they will fall for it. If they are falling for it, they're not falling because they like you. They're falling because you are their green card. You are their way out of the country. You are their way out of the hood. We know for a fact that Africa, Brazil have America's hood too. But let's say the UK, for example, we ain't really got the hood the way Africa's got the hood, right? And even the hood in America ain't the hood in Brazil, ain't the shanties in Brazil or Philippines. The level of poverty, the relativeness is different. So you're telling me, right? A man from America comes and wants to marry me. The issue, these men ain't going to marry. What we begin to find out, these men, not all of them, some of them are genuinely trying to marry, but a lot of these men are not trying to marry these women. A lot of these men are not trying to marry the woman. They're not trying to marry the woman. Yeah. What we will find out is that essentially they got chased out. The leader of it got chased out because she was promoting sex working. Sex working isn't illegal in Brazil, but the promotion of it is. Being a pimp is.
And I want to say, this is pathetic. I, as a woman who was born in South Africa or Africa, I'm always so traumatized. Like, seriously, it bothers me and it traumatizes me every time I get a clip and I just listen to an African man talk, like African American men, the toxic ones, talk about their women the way that they do. Like, it baffles me. I'm traumatized by the idea that you would get a microphone and you will speak such things about your women. I don't care if she weighs 400 pounds, 200 pounds. I do not care. The way that you talk about these women, you demonize them, it's like you're not talking about a human being who has feelings and who has a heart. And listen, you can go to these other countries, you can go to South Africa, you can go to Kenya, you can go to Nigeria, and you can go to the Philippines. Most likely you're gonna get the poor woman who can't wait to escape from poverty. You are a predator because you know that woman is not gonna leave. You can abuse them, you can cheat on them, you can treat them like garbage, but it would be better for them to be sitting in your home being treated like garbage because they don't have any other plan. They would rather stay here, take the money, support their family back home than go back there. So they will take your nonsense, and that's evil. That's not really submission. They're not submitting to you, because submission, you know what submission is like? It's like knowing that your wife has 5 degrees, she makes more money than you, but when she's at home, she's a wife. Like, neighbors don't even know that she makes more. Neighbors don't even know that she treats you like a king, regardless of how much you bring at home. You could bring more, she could bring more, but she will still treat you like a king. Submission is something that is voluntary. It comes out of a place of respect and honor for the men that you are married, not out of control. And so, if you think that like these women are being submissive to you, no, they are just tolerating you because they don't have any other option. And you know that. Your little insecure self knows that, because you know if she had a way out, she would leave. If she was educated, had a career, spoke English, and had a degree, she would not tolerate you. She would not tolerate the way that you do. So you will go and you will pick the most vulnerable, and that makes you a predator. I probably said too much today, but you know what? I said what I said. I said what I said.
She got time today, cuz. She got time today. She's like, I got time. I'm letting you know, bullets fired. Boop, 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 boop. Boy, she said it. They are tolerating you. Do you know what that means to tolerate an individual? I can tolerate your point of view, but I got to, can you imagine me saying to my husband, I tolerate you? If my husband ever said to me, I tolerate you, bruv, I'll just sit there and cry. I'd just be like, what? Can you imagine? I tolerate you. The reality is there'll be some women who are not caught up and they're not aware because they are ignorant, they're uneducated. See, the nuances that these passport bros miss because they're not from the country, we all know if you're from the continent or you're from the Caribbean, we all know men and women that say they want a man from the continent of the Caribbean because of certain cultural dynamics. But that's different because there's a cultural understanding that you're aware of. I know of Nigerian men, British born, that go back to the village to look for a wife. And it could be very similar that they want a wife who is innocent and pure, who's actually be submissive. And though there's a very similarity, there is a slight difference because they understand the culture, right? Where these men are not coming to Brazil just to enjoy the culture, to be inculcated in the culture, to acclimatize to the culture, and then, happen to meet a person that they fall in love with. They're coming there for the sole interest to get women who they feel is going to be more feminine, fit, most likely docile. They're looking for women who are desperate, because only desperate women, which will be a big proportion of Brazil. Maybe I'm talking about Brazil. Let me talk about Nigeria. Look, 80% of the women in Nigeria that are bruv, they could even be married. If an American man or British man or anybody that's out of Africa comes and serenades them, they're okay, I beg. We're out of here. Well, Japan means we're going to abroad. Are you mad? Do you know the craziness in our country? As a Nigerian that wasn't even raised in Nigeria, can admit that, bruv, I wouldn't want to live in Nigeria, right? So there are people that will be, yeah, I will tolerate your stinky breath. I will tolerate your small penis. I will tolerate bruv, I will tolerate you being 5'2", and I'm 5'8". I will tolerate it, bruv. You're getting me out of this country. So you're not even getting your comparative equal. You're not getting your mental equal. That's what I find is concerning. And I think a lot of the rhetoric that I hear from this manosphere, particularly the black manosphere, red pill, is they don't want their equal. They don't want somebody who's got the same level of intelligence. It's like somebody saying that I'm going to marry somebody with an IQ of 50, somebody who is basically learning disabled so that you can be vulnerable. As a social worker, I have seen people take advantage of people with vulnerabilities, people with autism, people with Down syndrome, and it's disgusting because they know that they can basically manipulate the person, and that is basically what these passport bros are doing, right? That's what they're doing, but they did not know that the Brazilian women are educated. And they were tired of seeing videos of their women being paraded like they're stupid.
And before you come at me, this is not a video of me agreeing with you that women are, like African women are problematic. This is just in response of what you say about them and say what the problems are and what causes you to go to these third world countries to look for women. I'm saying look at yourself first. Look at what you did to create a culture of super independent women who are just always wanting to take care of themselves, wanting to be in control of their lives instead of trusting you as a man to be as a good provider, to be a protector. Maybe you haven't provided for them. Maybe you haven't protected them, and now they feel they have to take that responsibility that was initially for a husband to themselves because you haven't done that. So this is not a video about me bashing African American women or saying that they are problematic, but if you say that they are, all these problems that you say they have, what have you done to create these issues? And this is not gaslighting. This is just showing you that, you know what, with every reaction, there's an opposite and equal reaction. I think that's what it says. But basically, you reap what you sow. What kind of seed have you sown in your culture? in the American culture, in relationships, in marriages, in family, that has now created this toxic cycle. This is what this is about.
Speak on it. Speak on it. She did the thing. She spoke on the thing. That's what I'm talking about.